Hello everyone and welcome to my Metru official channel. Michael needs to go back and get Sasha's child, repair his bad writing choice? Will a return plot correct an out-of-character writing choice if General Hospital spoilers indicate that Michael Corinthos must claim his child? After his recuperation, Michael is expected to return to Port Charles, which may present an opportunity to make some adjustments. At the German clinic, Michael is undergoing a challenging healing process, but he is receiving the best treatment available. Michael's burns from the penthouse fire won't leave him with any significant scarring if all goes according to plan. That's encouraging and might indicate that Chad Duell will return to the position when the time is appropriate. Avoided the apparent recast scenario and left the door open for Duell's reappearance because the program didn't want to go down a deformed road with head bandages. Since Michael's plot has become a complete mess without him, many fans are already excited for him to return. To be honest, there is no logic to this entire situation with Sasha Gilmore Corbin. Sasha informed Michael that she intended to raise the child on her own, partly because she didn't want the child associated with the Quartermaines or the mob intrigue surrounding Sonny Corinthos. Given that Stone Cold is Sonny's right-hand man and a hitman with ties to the Quartermaines, Jason is essentially the worst phony baby daddy imaginable. Although word is spreading quickly that Jason is the father, Sasha is still adamant about raising the child alone, and she plans to allow the public to continue to believe so. It looks like a simple way to start a fight and possibly endanger this infant. Naturally, Sasha is also concerned that Michael might lose Amelia and Wiley Corinthos in the custody dispute. If everyone discovers that Michael is Sasha's child's biological father, it will be impossible for him to hide his infidelity. Nevertheless, Michael's willingness to allow Sasha to raise his child without his presence appears uncharacteristic. It's hard to imagine Michael, who is a wonderful father who loves his kids, could watch helplessly as this baby is born and not claim it. When Sasha claimed that Michael agreed with her plan to fly alone, even Jason had a suspicion that she was lying. Since it didn't seem like a decision Michael would make, Jason traveled to Germany to receive confirmation from Michael personally. Hopefully, things work out so that Michael may finally return home and claim his child. Maybe after the baby is born and can be held in his arms with love, Michael will alter his mind. We'll keep you updated on any return indications and future narrative predictions because General Hospital spoilers indicate that Michael's return might cause some major repercussions in the future. Cyrus' ruined plan caught Willow off guard, putting Jocelyn in danger. According to the General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, February 19th, Cyrus Renault will have to deal with a shattered scheme while Willow Corinthos will be taken by surprise. There are going to be some shocking moments in Port Charles because Jocelyn Jacks will also land in trouble. She will attempt to get Cyrus to leave while at Elizabeth Baldwin's house, but he will make it apparent that he must see her immediately. It appears that Cyrus will break in and leave Liz terrified for her life. But Lucky Spencer might come back for his missed dessert and see Elizabeth in this awful predicament. Lucky might attack Cyrus before he can jab the needle and take any necessary action to protect Liz. Regretfully, that will probably lead to Lucky receiving an injection using the digitalis syringe that was intended for Elizabeth. After his scheme fails, Cyrus might sneer at Lucky and flee, returning to his hiding place to determine his next course of action. Elizabeth might phone 911 for Lucky in the meanwhile and implore him to persevere. Jocelyn will next appear irritated by Emma Drake's attempt to hire her, most likely for Emma's fundraising event. After Joss leaves work, Emma will continue to get to know Giovanni Gio Palmieri by spending some time with him. Her evening with Jack Brennan will end abruptly at Carly Spencer's house. If Brennan finds out that Cyrus is also going to his hideout, he might worry about the timing and receive information on Jocelyn's arrival. Jason Morgan might be able to follow Cyrus to Austin Gatlin Holt's property for a showdown of his own, but Brennan might dash off to save Jocelyn. In any case, according to teasers, Cyrus and Jocelyn are headed for a collision, so before long, he will be gazing at her from the doorway. Harrison Chase will be gently prodded by Dante Falconeri to share his problems at the Savoy. It appears that Chase will acknowledge that his test results indicate he is unable to conceive for Brooklyn Quartermaine. Lulu Spencer will make fun of Brooklyn and play the blame game with her at deception. Later on, Dante will arrive and perhaps advise Lulu to back off because Brooklyn is going through some family difficulties. Since Brooklyn is concealing the fact that she placed her first kid for adoption, Dante and Chase are unaware of her other problem. Someone will surprise her over with Willow. Perhaps Drew will entice Willow to attend a Valentine's Day party at the Savoy. Given that Drew and Curtis Ashford are going to engage in a heated argument, it's also feasible that his actions will surprise Willow. Despite his temptation to dump Drew, Curtis will eventually focus on Portia Robinson and make an effort to keep their evening together. Brad Cooper will form a bond with Lucas Jones at the bar nearby and hope that they may still get back together. According to General Hospital spoilers, there will be some romantic turns in PC yet, so we'll give you more guesses about what will happen this evening. What we know about Taj Bellows' potential exit as TJ Ashford. According to General Hospital spoilers, viewers are wondering if Taj Bellow is out at GH after TJ Ashford vanished from the show and made a mysterious social media post. Here's what we currently know about Bellows' position on the program. There are valid concerns that Bellow is leaving, even though he is still identified as a contract cast member in the closing credits. There are indications that Bellows' official exit may be imminent. The character hasn't seemed to be used much in the program since TJ and Molly Lansing Davis broke up. TJ is no longer included in any significant stories on Canvas and has completely disappeared from the map. This leads us to a recent Instagram post by Taj Bellow that sounded a lot like a farewell. In many ways, pouring into TJ, the way he poured into me has been enlightening, Bellow remarked. Bellow also conveyed his appreciation for the accolades his work received during the past 12 months. After considering the challenging material, Bellow said he felt fortunate that his portrayal struck a chord. Naturally, Bellow addressed the question of what's happening with TJ, even though he left it open-ended for the time being. It would be simple for Bellow to simply state that he had a fantastic new story in the works at GH. If it was, Bellow most likely would have informed supporters that there was still a lot more TJ to come. Rather, it appears like Bellow was providing a thankful conclusion before to his departure. Bellow did nothing to stop the rumors that TJ was being written out, on the contrary, he fueled the flames. Our forecasts indicate that this could be TJ's last day. As more significant cast news becomes available, we'll be sure to share it. According to General Hospital spoilers, there may be more cast changes in the works, so tune in. Carly's unsettling finding, Cyrus Destiny, and Killer Justice. Next week's General Hospital spoilers are here. Fans can anticipate learning what happens to Cyrus Renaud, Jeff Kober, from February 24 to 28, 2025. Carly Spencer, meanwhile, discovers something unsettling. Let's talk about what will happen in the ABC soap opera next week as you continue reading. The destiny of Cyrus Renaud. Fans may be able to witness Cyrus's fate next week. Finally, fans found out why Cyrus killed those folks. But there might have been a price for Lucky Spencer. Instead of killing Elizabeth Liz Baldwin, Cyrus used a syringe to stab Lucky in the leg. A murder mystery is ahead? Cyrus will then take against Jocelyn Jacks. It seems obvious that Cyrus will meet a gruesome end. Given how many people would be justified in ending Cyrus, there may even be a murder mystery. After all, Sam McCall and Dex Heller were among Cyrus' numerous victims. Carly Spencer's unsettling finding. Carly will uncover something unsettling, according to General Hospital teasers for the week of February 24. This might have to do with Carly learning that Jocelyn met Cyrus in person. Jack Brennan may need to make a big apology when Jocelyn describes how she got to that cabin. Brennan will probably have to clean up his own mess in addition to making amends with Carly. Other things to anticipate. Additionally, anticipate that Dante Falconeri will assist Lulu Spencer during Lucky's medical crisis. Anna Devane will also have some explanations to provide and a significant mess to clean up. Cyrus may not be the one to kill the villain, despite the fact that Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, threatened him. The situation may get even more complicated as a result of his admission to Anna and public threats. Jason is also being used by Sasha Gilmore Corbin as a phony baby daddy. For the time being, Willow Tate Corinthos and everyone else may accept Sasha and Jason's claim. Willow may eventually figure things out and see that they don't add up. Everything could change if Willow finds out that Sasha's baby's father is Michael Corinthos. Additionally, it appears that Drew Kane Quartermain's demise is imminent. Drew is becoming quite arrogant. Although Willow appears to believe that he is her savior, living with Drew could lead to a lot of problems. A close look at character dynamics and legal drama as Jason gets away with it while Cyrus Renault's arrest warrant is postponed. High-stakes drama was supplied by General Hospital as Cyrus Renault continued to elude justice because of a postponed arrest warrant and Jason Morgan escaped from police custody. This crucial point highlights how judicial process, personal grudges, and the moral complexity that characterize Port Charles interact. This essay examines the consequences of delayed warrants, the moral conundrums that characters like Anna Devane face, and the knock-on repercussions on relationships throughout the canvas, all while drawing on the events of the episode and larger legal settings. The legal conundrum, the reason behind the postponement of Cyrus Renault's arrest warrant. The inability of Anna Devane to get an arrest warrant for Cyrus Renault right away depends on subtleties in the criminal law procedure. In the episode, Anna says that even though she has enough evidence to link Cyrus to illegal activity, she must wait until morning to take action due to bureaucratic obstacles, notably the requirement for judicial clearance. This situation is similar to actual legal systems where a judge must consider probable cause before issuing an arrest warrant. Even in cases when there is a high suspicion of guilt, law enforcement must provide objective evidence to support an arrest, as stated in Justice's analysis of probable cause criteria. Anna's situation exemplifies the conflict between due process and urgency. Making an arrest too quickly without a warrant could violate the Fourth Amendment, while waiting could let suspects like Cyrus avoid punishment. Systemic inefficiencies are another issue that is brought up by the delay. For instance, political pressure and procedural difficulties can impede prompt action in international situations such as the ICC's protracted delays in obtaining an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu 13. The analogy highlights how power dynamics, whether Cyrus's criminal influence or geopolitical alliances, can distort legal timelines, even though GH's fictional universe simplifies these complexity. The release of Jason Morgan, legal accountability versus vigilantism. Jason's status as an anti-hero who walks a tightrope between justice and retribution is enhanced by his release from prison. Fearing that Cyrus's vigilante behavior may weaken her case and damage her reputation as a law enforcement official, Anna cautions Jason from going after him. 1. This dispute is reminiscent of discussions concerning extrajudicial justice in the real world, where retaliation is occasionally stoked by public annoyance with court delays. For example, protracted legal disputes damaged systemic trust and left both police and victims disillusioned in the case of Warrant Officer Severiano Blunden, who was acquitted following a 2-year trial. Jason's past of breaking the law serves as more evidence of his moral ambiguity. Jason's focus on results contrasts with Anna's adherence to procedural integrity. This contrast has long characterized Jason's personality. The episode gently raises the topic of whether his strategies, despite their effectiveness, contribute to violent cycles. This tension is reflected in the trial of Jason Chen, a fictional defendant in a case based by reality, whose rash decisions during a furious fight had disastrous results. Both stories examine the ways that procedural errors and emotional instability interact to cause long-lasting wounds. Elizabeth Baldwin's fear, Cyrus's threatening methods. The most terrifying scene in the show is when Cyrus threatens Elizabeth Baldwin at her house by taking advantage of the warrant delay. Elizabeth's weakness highlights Cyrus's skill at psychological manipulation, which is in line with his pattern of using legal loopholes to establish his power. As she recognizes that the system has failed to protect her, her dread is evident. This is a common motif in situations where victims are left vulnerable due to delayed warrants. Elizabeth's tense relationship with Lucky Spencer is also revisited in this scenario. Their passionate kiss and unresolved tension contrast with Cyrus's threat, demonstrating the interdependence of internal and exterior dangers. Elizabeth's conviction that she doesn't need protection from Lucky illustrates both her tenacity and the sense of loneliness that characters experience when dealing with structural flaws. Subplots, family dynamics, jealousy, and love. Although the episode is dominated by the Cyrus, Jason, and Anna triangle, subplots add emotional depth to the story. The tense relationship between Lucas and Brad Cooper struggles with envy after Lucas Jones rejects a setup using a deception technique. Their unresolved conflict parallels Jason and Anna's mistrust of the court system and speaks to larger problems of trust and insecurity. Harrison Chase's romantic gesture of serenading Brooke Lynn Quartermaine represents optimism in the midst of chaos. Their bond stands in stark contrast to the cynicism of characters such as Carly Spencer, whose flirty relationship with Jack Brennan exposes her post-divorce vulnerability. Lulu's maternal guilt, believing she has let her son Rocco down while she was in a coma, Lulu Spencer finds it difficult to get back in touch with him. The way parental guilt penetrates the episode is demonstrated by Dante's assurance that you're still a great mom, which echoes Anna's attempts to strike a balance between obligation and empathy. Legal precedents and parallels to the real world. The GH cliché of the delayed warrant has resonance in actual court cases. Oregon's warrant procedures, for example, stress that arrests must be made with either probable cause or a judge's warrant. Any delays run the danger of the evidence deteriorating or the witness not being available. Likewise, the fact that Warrant Officer Blundin's charges were dropped because of conflicting witness statements demonstrates how procedural errors can sabotage the administration of justice. These instances put Anna's annoyance in perspective. Systemic barriers, such as bureaucratic backlogs or witness credibility, can delay responsibility even in the face of compelling evidence. Internationally, the ICC's tardiness in pursuing Netanyahu serves as a reminder of how judicial independence is undermined by political meddling and jurisdictional conflicts. Although GH oversimplifies these relationships, Cyrus's control over Port Charles's criminal underbelly is reminiscent of real-life leaders who take advantage of legal ambiguities to hold on to power. Thematic implications, moral compromise, power, and trust. Trust in people and organizations is questioned in this episode. Anna's association with Jason, a former fugitive who is now an informant, puts her moral limits to the test and echoes discussions over law enforcement cooperation with controversial individuals. Her caution to Jason, "Don't go after Cyrus," demonstrates her delicate balancing act of using his abilities without endorsing vigilantism. Cyrus, on the other hand, represents the perniciousness of corruption. His capacity to use the legal system to postpone punishment while frightening Elizabeth reveals how power functions in ways other than physical force. This dichotomy brings to mind Mossad's purported meddling in the ICC's probe of Netanyahu, where responsibility was suppressed through espionage and intimidation. The lead-up to the conflict. Violence, manipulation, and an unrelenting quest for power have all been hallmarks of Cyrus Renault's reign of terror in Port Charles. His activities have caused fear and turmoil in the town and have had a negative impact on many residents. Jocelyn Jacks and Dex Heller, who have long-standing grudges against Cyrus, are among those most affected. Because Jocelyn, Carly Corinthos's daughter, has been personally threatened by Cyrus's schemes, she has become desperate and determined. Dex, however, has a turbulent past with Cyrus of his own, which feeds his need for revenge. When emotions escalated, each of them made the separate decision to face Cyrus, preparing themselves for a final confrontation. The crucial point. Cyrus was thought to be planning another of his illegal operations when the deadly encounter took place in a remote part of Port Charles. Unaware of one another, Jocelyn and Dex met at the spot, each determined to put an end to Cyrus's oppression. A tense standoff developed when Cyrus realized they were there. Both Jocelyn and Dex pulled their weapons in the resulting confusion, both hoping to eliminate Cyrus's danger. Multiple bullets struck Cyrus as a result of the simultaneous gunfire, rendering him powerless and bringing a sudden end to his reign of terror. Despite their lack of coordination, their combined efforts demonstrated the community's will to resist oppression and violence. Repercussions and consequences. Cyrus was taken to General Hospital in the immediate aftermath of the gunshot, where doctors and nurses worked non-stop to stabilize his condition. Local law enforcement has launched a comprehensive investigation into the incident in an effort to identify the exact chain of events and ascertain the legal repercussions for those involved. The interaction has prompted reflection and a recognition of the ethical complexity of their behavior for both Jocelyn and Dex. Although their goal was to safeguard their community and loved ones, the reality of enforcing the law on their own poses significant moral and legal dilemmas. In the face of constant threats, the larger Port Charles community is currently considering the ramifications of this vigilantism and how to strike a balance between justice and due process.